Tancred de Hauteville requested a pen and paper, though his hand trembled noticeably. He needed to confirm his will in writing to eliminate any doubts. Despite the pleading look of his young wife, the enchanting green-eyed Cecilia of France, the regent of Antioch slowly wrote and then stated, "My wife, after my burial, you must marry Count of Tripoli, my friend and loyal aide. He will be your support." Thus ended the 1112th year. It was clear that Cecilia of France was destined for a life filled with adventure. Her father was King Philip I, and her mother was the beautiful Bertrade, and together they had defied the will of the Pope and the French nobility. The girl was the product of passion, but, alas, illegitimate. Even the king could not secure acknowledgement of Cecilia as his daughter. At the beginning of the 12th century, the newly minted Prince of Antioch, Bohemond of Taranto, rushed to the French court. A participant in the Crusades, a strong and brave knight, he came to seek a bride. He was warmly welcomed, and soon, in the Cathedral of Chartres, he wed the royal daughter, Constance. This princess was legitimate, meaning she was born of Philip I's lawful marriage to Bertha of Holland. However, Bohemond was also interested in a closer alliance with the French ruling house, so he negotiated a second marriage between his nephew Tancred and the very same Cecilia of France. At the time of the engagement, Cecilia was just 9 years old, but could that be an obstacle to a dynastic marriage? The marriage contract was drawn up according to all the laws, and the dowry for the princess was discussed, so they could confidently embark on the journey. To Tancred, Bohemond had an enemy in the Mediterranean, the Byzantine Emperor Alexios I Komnenos. He closely monitored the movements of the Antiochian ruler, and he disapproved of his marriage to a Frenchwoman. Learning through spies that another princess, Cecilia, was sailing to her future husband, he called upon Genoa and Venice for assistance. The plan was simple: intercept the ship with the girl and then see what happened. But the Italian cities turned a deaf ear to the emperor's request. No one wanted to openly confront the King of France. As a result, Cecilia successfully reached Edessa, where she was married to Tancred and then, together with her husband, made her way to Antioch. In the palace, the girl was surrounded by servants, but she had little time to get to know her husband. He was either fighting in Cilicia or rushing off to Alamout. Meanwhile, Cecilia grew more beautiful with each passing day. After all, she was the daughter of Philip I, a blend of Slavic and French blood, and the incomparable Bertrade, who had driven the king to madness. Soon, Tancred became the regent of Antioch following the death of his uncle Bohemond. 14-year-old Cecilia promised her husband that she would support him in all things, and he, gazing into her green eyes, marveled at her beauty. As husband and wife, in love and happiness, they lived together for just 1 year. Tancred fell ill with typhus. As he lay dying, he wrote a document transferring all rights to Cecilia and demanded that she marry immediately. He even chose a successor, the Count of Tripoli. This young man, a devoted friend of Tancred, was to protect the beautiful widow. In full accordance with Tancred's will, Cecilia married Pons of Tripoli. It never even occurred to her to object. Most likely, she was simply overwhelmed by what had happened. Their only son, born 4 years later, was named Raymond. In the following 20-plus years, Pons was almost constantly at war. He was killed by the forces of the Sultan. Cecilia lived in Jerusalem, raising her son, once again alone, just as in her first brief marriage. The last mention of her is associated with donations to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre,